going. All right, well, welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, August the 3rd, and we are so glad you're here on this community call time, and we are here to talk about sabotage. All right, so we're gonna need your help tonight. So there's gonna be a lot of time in the second half of this call for us to be hearing from you. We wanna know something you're excited about in your journey, something that maybe you're struggling with, that you'd like some help with. But as we get started tonight, we would love it if you could put a 1 in the chat if you have ever been sabotaged on plan by a friend. Put a number 2 in the chat if you've ever been sabotaged on plan by a family member. And put a number 3 if you have ever been sabotaged by a colleague at work. So throw a number up in the chat. Man, those numbers are coming in. We see 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3. All of those numbers are coming in. I think one thing we can all agree, I love it. One thing we can all agree is every single one of us at some point or another in our journey has been sabotaged by sometimes like well-meaning friends and family members and colleagues, right? So we would love to know from you, what does that look like? So when you have been sabotaged, what are some of the phrases that you've heard that have sabotaged you? You can pop off mute and share it with us through your words, or you can put it in the chat. But we would love to know, how have you heard that you've been sabotaged? What does that typically look like? Kim says, have just one. That's a good one. I hear, surely one donut's not going to hurt you. Just one piece of cake. Yep.
I made it just for you.
Do what?
I made it especially for you.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
But you've been good all week.
It's a good one, Jaspreet. What else?
It's not going to kill you.
It's a good one. Any others? I'll read some of these from the chat. Feel free to interrupt me if you think of any. It's just one night. One time isn't going to kill you. You have to live life. Oh, that one gets me. It's your birthday. It's my birthday. You look good. It's okay. Just try a bite. You won't sustain it if you always limit yourself. How about this one? Don't get too skinny. Anybody heard that one before? Oh, that one hurts. How about this one? Why do you gotta make us feel bad? Anybody heard that one? Like, my choices make somebody else feel bad? Oh, it kills us, right? There are so many ways that well-meaning people who love us can sabotage us, which I think is why this conversation is so very important. So tonight we're going to give you some tips on how to handle these really tricky situations. And then you guys are the experts. So I'm going to give you some of my tips, but then I want to hear from you on how you handle these hard situations, because you're the experts. Tip number 1 is to advocate for yourself, right? Like, so much of our journey is learning that we are the hero in our own story. So we have to advocate for ourselves. We know they're going to say, just take one bite. One bite's not going to kill you. It's your birthday, whatever, right? But you can say, you know what? I've got goals. You know what? I don't need that one bite to help me have fun at this party or to help me experience this, right? You can advocate for yourself. And, you know, sometimes when people put pressure on you, we heard this weekend at convention with Dr. Anderson. This question came up on, how do I handle sabotage from a family member or a spouse? And what he said, which I thought was incredibly strong and such a great way to advocate for yourself, is to say, hey, mom, dad, sister, brother, spouse, whoever, do you love me? And of course, they're going to say, well, yeah, of course I do. And then you can say, well, would you support me in this? This means a lot to me. And tell them how you want them to support you. Like, maybe it's, hey, I don't want to be offered the donut. I don't want to be offered the sweets. I just want you to tell me that I look great and you're proud of the work that I'm doing. And you can say, listen, I want to be around for a long time for my kids, for you, for our family. And it would mean the world to me for you to support me. Another thing that you can say is, hey, I'm ready for life change and you might not be ready just yet, and that is okay. But would you support me in this? And a big thing that Dr. A said, which I thought was really helpful, because probably all of us can testify to this, right? Like we get excited, we start to lose weight on plan, we're feeling great, and we kind of have the Kool-Aid, right? Has anybody else had some of the Optavia Kool-Aid, which is like 0 calories, no carbs, right? But we start to just want this for other people, right? And so as a spouse, we can, or a family member, we can start to kind of nag at other people to want this for them too. So I think it's important to remember we can't nag our spouse to health. We can't nag our family to health. All we can do is just really control ourselves. So as I share any tips that resonate with you, I would love it if you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments, like what resonates with you. But the first tip is to advocate for yourself. The second tip is to have a game plan. If you're going to a party, a birthday party or any kind of party, it's likely that there's going to be cake. There's going to be some delicious things there, right? And so you're going to need a game plan. So I would recommend when you talk to your coach this week, if you have a party coming up, talk to your coach about what your game plan is going to be, right? Talk to them about, okay, here's what I'm going to do before the party so that I'm ready. Here's what I'm going to do during the party so that I stay on track. And here's what I'm going to do after. One of the things I recommend to my clients is that they can always text me before and after a party to say, okay, I'm going in, here's my game plan. And then when they're done, they can say, hey, I stayed on track. Everything went well. Just so they have somebody else who knows what their game plan is. So that's my second tip. The third is to be accountable, right? Be accountable. Sometimes when we have these parties and different things going on, we might not want to get on the scale because we're like, oh, we want to hide, or we might not want to talk to our coach. But I think that's the time more than any time that we need to be accountable. We need to continue our habit of getting on the scale once a week and talking to our coach each week. And if you didn't know, clients that talk to a coach over the phone for 5 minutes a week, their results are double everybody else's. And we want you to be in that category where you get double the results of everybody else's. So being accountable is the third tip. The fourth tip is to set goals for yourself. So I love the idea of setting small goals that lead to your big goals, because setting those small goals will give you the steps that you need in order to get to where you want to be. So highly recommend that. And I want to know from you, what are your best tips for handling the sabotage? So either pop off mute or post them in the chat. We would love to hear from you. And Mary Wisdom just said, her husband just asked if there was Kool-Aid. There's some calorie burn infusers, Mary Wisdom, and they are very delicious, but no actual Kool-Aid on plan. But we want to hear from you. How have you successfully navigated through sabotage from friends, family, or spouses since you've been on plan?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, for those of you who haven't met me in person, and I have a big Southern family. And if you don't know what that's like, then you have never met peer pressure. Because when we meet together, when we celebrate around food and with food, and not just one meal, but multiple different times throughout the day. We overindulge as part of the celebration. So this past weekend, I went and got to see extended family and had called the host and asked what the menu was, and told them that I would bring salad and I would bring grilled chicken, and my husband and I made a plan, and we brought everything we would need so that even if nothing else was on plan, we would have food for our family. Sorry, that's my cat. The entire day. And then when we got there, we had already discussed in the car, what are we going to say whenever they pass that tray around? And what are we going to say when they pull it out for seconds? And what are we going to say when desserts come around? And so we had a game plan together, and then we stuck together during the day. so that whenever the family members saw the difference, we always praised them in something that they were doing in their life that we were proud of, and just took that comfort upon ourselves that we were making the better choice for our overall health.
Man, that's incredible, Elizabeth.
Thank
And
you.
how did you feel when you were done? Like the next day when you woke up?
So the next day, I was definitely tired because of the extended experience, but I did not have the inflammation that I normally had. I didn't have the body aches that I normally had, which was wonderful. And the scale went down, which after a day of sitting down and being with extended family visiting, that was tremendous. So
That's awesome. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing that with us. Love the way you stuck to your guns. You had a game plan and you followed through. That's incredible.
and texted Jordan a lot.
That's awesome. I love that. One of the things Jordan said while you were talking is she says no thanks. She moves on. She stays away from the food and she keeps a drink in her hand. So that is really smart. I love those couple of tips from Jordan. Who else has handled sabotage from a family, friend, or coworker? Any other tips you want to share with us?
I'll go. Hi, I'm Lacey. I would say that I've just been really honest with people that this isn't forever. I'm not saying no forever. I'm not judging you for eating what you're eating, but for me at this point in my journey, I'm passing because I have goals. So just reminding people that it's not necessarily about that food choice. It's just that I'm on this journey and I'm choosing to say no for this period of time.
Wow, that's strong. That's beautiful, Lacey. Thanks for giving us that strength and such good language around how to have a firm stance that's also very loving and relatable. That was great. Anybody else?
I'll say, I saw Mary Lauren made a comment that I just loved. She said that, where are you, Mary Lauren? So good to see you. And this is what I always try to do too, is that when especially you're at a gathering or you're at someone's home, is to really like look for ways that you can help and serve. And so you're taking your focus off of, boy, I would really like to eat that. Gosh, maybe I should try that. You know, I should eat it in front of them so they see that I'm eating it and encouraging them. But instead to see, okay, can I pick up, empty plates? Can I refill someone's drink? But just to think about going to a dinner, being able to serve and help and kind of even be in the background if that's what it takes. So Mary Lauren, I love that comment. That comment has served me well.
I love that, Adele and Mary Lauren. Great ideas. That was really helpful. There are two comments that always get me to my core that we've already kind of talked about. One is when somebody says, oh, don't get too skinny. Does that not get in your head when you're passing the dessert table and you're thinking, well, they said I was not going to get too skinny. I might as well eat this donut or eat this piece of cake or whatever. So whenever anybody says that, I try to meet them with, you know what? I am working with a health coach and I'm working to get to a healthy weight. I've got a professional working with me, and I'm really excited about my goals. Kind of just shutting them down, right? Because they don't know. They don't know about your goals. They don't know how far you've come. And they also don't know how hard it is for you to walk by that dessert table, right? For you to stick to your guns. And I really believe in our heart. And Christina, do you have something you wanted to share with us? I don't think so. I really believe in my heart that our family and friends and spouses really do want to serve us and love us and help us. They just sometimes don't know how. They're well-meaning, right? The other thing that I hear that just punches me in the gut is when they say, well, you got to live life. Life is too short to not eat cake at a birthday party. You know what? I think life is too short to live one more day not at your goal. To live one more day not feeling like the very best version of yourself. And what I know about our plan is, oh my gosh, not only is it incredible, right? But what it taught me is that birthday parties aren't about the cake. It's about making the main thing the main thing. And the main thing about a birthday party is celebrating my friend or celebrating my son or my daughter or my spouse, right? It's not about the stinking cake. So yesterday I had my birthday party and I got a free cake and I gave it to my dad, who was very excited to eat it when we went to the restaurant. Because for me, it really wasn't about the cake. It was about being with my family. So I want you to know and have that freedom. Okay, so there's one other thing that can sabotage us that I feel like we need to address tonight. I'm a little nervous to bring this up because it's probably that thing that's looking at you in the camera in Zoom right now. And that's ourselves, right? I know that I am the number one person that sabotages me and my goal. Am I alone in that? Right? No. Yep. I see my friends out there. I know I'm not alone in that, right? All of us can be the thing that sabotages us the most. So there's a tool we want to share with you, and it's in your Habits of Health book. It's in the Life book, and it's this idea of structural tension. And one of the beautiful things about this, and I have this rubber band that I'm going to use. It's a hair rubber band, but any rubber band will do. So the idea of structural tension, right, is you probably see the tension here in my rubber band, right? The bottom is where we are right now, and the top is where we want to be. So let's say your goal is to lose 30 pounds, right? So here is where you are, and here's where you want to be. So you might think about why you want to lose these 30 pounds. Well, you want to fit in your clothes. You want to have more energy. You want to sleep better at night. You want to pop in the comments what you think what would benefit you from losing 30 pounds, right? But I'm just trying to think, having more confidence, more energy, feeling free to open your closet and wear what you want to wear. Feel better in your skin. That's a good one. More confidence, being able to play with your kids, not being in pain. Woo, man, keeping up with your toddler, sleeping better, so many good things. Clarity of mind. Man, this list is incredible. Feeling more authentic, counseling people to better health, less reliant on meds, so many incredible things. Well, as you start to lose weight, let's say, okay, so this is our 30-pound goal, and now we just need to lose 25, now 20, now 15 pounds, now 10 pounds. Do you notice the tension gets released? Hopefully y'all can see that. See how there's not much tension, right? So as you start to get closer to your goal, it becomes easier and easier for you to settle for good instead of going for great. And the reason why is because you have less tension, because you're closer to where you want to be than you have before. I was talking to a client today. She is at a lower weight than she's been in 4 years. So her tension has been reduced significantly, right? So when that happens, it's really important for us to continue setting new goals and to think about where we want to be. So where do we want to be and why does that matter to us, right? To keep that tension going so that we keep you on your health journey. It also becomes imperative that we continue working with a coach, that we continue staying accountable, that we continue doing the things that have made you successful in your journey. So do the things that made you successful when you wanted to lose 30 pounds, just like when you're trying to lose your last 5. That is a huge deal. So I want to know from you, what do you do to help you when you are wanting to sabotage yourself? Because goals are going to come and goals are going to go. But when we can stay focused on our overall health and where we want to be, that's when we're going to find success in our health. So we want to hear from you. So pop off mute or share in the comments. What helps you keep that structure going and that tension going as you're getting your goal?
Go ahead, Mary.
Sorry. Okay. I was just going to say, I just have to ask myself and remind myself of what my why is. And if your why is, in my case, like setting a good example for my kids so that they don't get on this like negative spiral, self-talk, diet lifestyle, because it's the last thing I want for them. If that's my why and I'm in a moment of self-sabotage, I just have to stop and ask myself, does this cupcake matter more than my children? And what a ridiculous question to even ask. But if you can get to the point where you stop and ask yourself, the answer is always no. The why is always more important than a glass of wine, a cupcake, ice cream, etc.
Wow, that's powerful. It's incredibly powerful. Man, who can say no to their kid in that moment? That's a great reminder.
I have something similar to what Meredith just said. So like when I first started my journey, and I was not in a good place. And so my why was I don't want to die.
Mm.
And as I've gotten healthier than I think I've ever been in my life, that why doesn't resonate with me as much because I feel like I'm doing so much better. That structural tension, like you showed, is slacking. So instead of saying what I don't want, I'm constantly reevaluating my why to a positive. So instead of saying I don't want to die, my why is I want to live.
Mm.
So I want to be able to continue motivating myself so I can do things that I hadn't been able to do the previous 40 years. And so I have to keep flipping that, instead of saying what I don't want, finding new goals that I do want. So that's what I have been doing a lot lately.
I love that, Melanie. Such a good reminder that our why is going to change over time. So I love that you're adjusting your why and you're making it work for you as you keep going. That's a great point. Thanks for sharing that with us.
May, can I say something I heard today?
Yeah.
Meredith made me think. I started listening to a book today called Never Binge Again. I don't know if any of y'all have listened to that. It's just about changing your mindset. And he was talking about all the ridiculous things that we say no to every day that we don't have to think twice about saying no to because we've trained ourselves to know that that's inappropriate. Like it's easy for us to not go out and assault another person because we just know, hey, that's not a good idea. Or we don't run a red light because we've trained ourselves. The consequences of that could be bad. And so he's saying we just need to retrain our thoughts to when we're saying no to food, with time it will become just as natural to pass by something because we know it doesn't serve us. It doesn't improve our health, so we can say no and it'll be a no-brainer eventually. But it's hard work to get there, but the repetition of saying no to the things that don't serve us gets easier, just like any other thing.
Yeah, that's a great reminder, Mary Lauren. Thanks for sharing that. And what's the name of that book? Will you share that again?
It's called Never Binge Again. I actually watched a YouTube Optavia coach. I think her name's Gwen something. She's a global director. But anyway, she in her coach training, she recommends all new clients while they're waiting on their kit to come in, listen to that book on audio, like an audio version, and it's super helpful. I mean, I just started listening to it today and I was like, it's really good.
Talk about taking back your power, right? And changing your mindset to something that's going to serve you. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Mary Lauren.
I'll share. For me, what keeps me is I have to tell someone because I don't want to be a liar. I can say in my head, okay, I want to, lose 10 pounds, or I can say, okay, I want to work out 5 times this week, and I'll keep it in my head so nobody will know if I don't do it. So for me, I don't want to be a liar. I feel very strongly about that. So I tell my coach whatever my goal is so that she can help me and she can ask me about how am I doing towards that goal, sending me a text or encouraging me. Or if I don't make the goal, what happened? What took precedence this week where you didn't meet that goal of exercising 4 times or 5 or whatever it is, but for me, I have to verbalize it because I need the accountability.
That's a great reminder. Yeah, that accountability is so important, isn't it? That's a great
I'm on
reminder.
the same lines as you as far as accountability and talking to somebody about it. I'm a teacher and we're just getting back into schools tomorrow. And today my team wanted to order pizza and they were very excited all week that we're going to order pizza today. And originally I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'm doing okay. And then today I had to tell them, I said, I can't, I'm doing this for myself. The pizza, yes, it'll probably taste good, but the guilt of eating it afterwards, because I'm trying to work towards my goal, is not going to feel good. So I didn't eat the pizza and I ordered unseasoned, unsauced wings. And of course the pizza smelled good, but I felt good that I didn't eat it.
Woo, just breathe. That's awesome.
Yes. Felt good.
Incredible. Yeah. And how will you
What
feel
if the
tomorrow?
element, doesn't one of the elements talk about that, pleasure versus satisfaction?
Yeah.
Pleasure in the moment, satisfaction overall, or is that backwards?
Yeah, pleasure is momentary, right? It's like something tastes good in the moment, like pizza tastes good for about 30 seconds. And then your friends at work probably felt bloated, gross. They probably weren't as productive as you were. But satisfaction is what you feel the next day when you wake up and you're energized and you know you stuck to your goals. And just because you did it today, it's probably going to be even easier if this situation were to happen tomorrow or the next day. You are proving to yourself that you have what it takes to stick to your guns and find a way through. So that's incredible. I love that.
Well, for me, Meg, is just actually yesterday I was talking to a client and she was telling me how her biggest sabotage is always at work because they order all this extra food and she just can't resist. So I was advising her, I told her that actually she can just start telling them, maybe she'll be the one to tell everybody at work to start doing better, Maybe when they're ordering pizza, they can order some salad to go with the pizza, and she can just eat the salad. Or if she have a choice, she can just order some salad so she can still eat with them. But the question actually I want to ask you is, have you thought about sabotaging with drinks, like people that are big drinkers? I was talking to a guy client, and he was telling me how the biggest sabotage is his friends just started, shifting away from him. And what do you do in a situation like that? I said, drink water, drink lots of water, and stay hydrated, and maybe carry a glass of water. Maybe, I don't know. Would you have any idea what to do with that?
That's a great question, Emma. So Emma said, how do you help people that are being sabotaged through something to drink? So we would love to hear any of your tips in the comments. But this is a Sprite Zero, right? Which this is on plan. And I would say have this in your, in your hand. Have something that's on plan in your hand. So in case somebody tries to give you something, you say, well, I already have my drink. I'm already good to go. You could also bring a tumbler with you full of LaCroix or water. Nobody needs to know what's in it. And also nobody cares, right? Because it's not what's in there that makes you any more fun, right? So I would say be your own advocate in that moment. So if you know you're going to go somewhere where people are bringing coolers and all that, you bring your own cooler full of LaCroix and waters and Sprite Zero, whatever it is that you want. I love black raspberry sparkling ice. Woo, that is like my favorite drink in the world. I like to put it in a fancy wine glass with some beautiful ice. And to me, that makes me feel like having it in a fancy glass makes me feel fancy. So figure out what makes you feel good, right? But to so many of us, it's more about the experience of like relaxing and taking a minute and enjoying, a beautiful glass, right? So I would say take back your power when you're in those instances, Emma, and encourage your client that they have the power to bring the things that they need. I think that's a great question. Mary Wisdom, her idea was she volunteered to drive when she went to brunch so that she didn't have to drink anything. I think that's a great idea as well. That's a great option.
Hey, Meg.
Hey.
So my brother-in-law, who was on program, he was a big drinker before and felt very pressured by the guys in the neighborhood and all that, because it's just a social thing. And so he went down this funny rabbit hole of finding different sparkling waters that he liked. And I don't know if y'all will be able to see this, but it's called Liquid Death. It's backwards, but it looks like beer. It's in a big can. I mean, it's called Liquid Death. And so he felt very like if the guys in the neighborhood were looking at him, they weren't going to say anything, because it didn't look like LaCroix or some kind of like girly thing. So there are lots of options out there that even if it's just for the look so that you don't want to talk about it, there's a lot of options out there.
That's a great idea, Lacey. I never heard of that. So
Me either, but they're like the big 16-ounce ones. So they look like they look like beer, but
definitely looks manly, I would say. I wouldn't doubt anybody drinking one of those. I think that's great. That's a great tip. Well, I hope you've taken something from this community call tonight on Sabotage. Really what we hope you take from it is that you have the power to achieve your goal. You are capable and you are worthy of these goals that you have for your health. And so would encourage you to reach out to your coach if you haven't so far this week and connect with them and just keep going. You have what it takes. So until next week, thanks so much for joining us and we'll see y'all soon. Bye guys.